Ganondorf still has a chance. Can he make a comeback twice? It could happen.
We're exhausted here. Overspin.
Oh, the guard burn! That's gonna do it! Take this man to the heavens as Flowchart Ken ascends to Grand Finals as your winner. Combo Breaker 2023.
What's up, guys? I'm Sean. I go by Flowchart Ken online, and I won Combo Breaker. I realized last time I did not show the trophy, so here it is. Pretty cool. Pretty good looking trophy. It's about person head size trophy. It's good size. Pretty cool. I like it. If you're somebody who only watches me for my fighting game content, first of all, hello. Hi, welcome. But this is gonna be a little bit different kind of video. I did a similar one to talk about Slashback and just talk about the experience and how I felt like everything went. So if you're not interested in that, no worries. If you wanna just watch more general fighting game commentary content, I'll have more of those probably later this week after I've just had a couple of days to decompress. But for those sticking around, let's talk about Combo Breaker. I have never been to a Combo Breaker before. In fact, I've never been to any major tournament before. I went to Slashback, but as cool as that was, it was definitely a smaller tournament. It only had about 40 entrants. I think there was about 1,000 people total, much smaller venue, and it had a really cool vibe to it, but Combo Breaker definitely had a much more like bigger major tournament atmosphere, which was really, really cool. Logistically, I planned this trip pretty poorly. I wanted to minimize the amount of hotel days I had, so I planned the flight for the day of, so it left at 6:30. It required me to wake up at 4:30 the day of pools, which was not a good idea. And I kind of figured I would be okay as long as I wasn't the earliest possible pool. And then pools were announced and I was playing at 10 a.m. So that kind of sucked. It wasn't a good idea in retrospect, and I would definitely do it differently next time. But needless to say, I had to play my pools with like, I don't know, 5 hours of sleep and waking up at 4:30, and it was not the best experience for me overall. The first round I played a Ghostblade. It wasn't really super noteworthy. I don't think he was like super practiced with the game, and I played that one pretty clean. And then the second round I had to play Just Jordan, who is a pretty good troubleshooter player who also ended up making top 8 after he got out of pools on the loser side. I think I played pretty poorly in this set, but I also don't want to take anything away from Jordan, who I think just played really, really well for the entire tournament. Honestly, he probably should have won. He was kind of mental stacked, I think, on the last round of the second game where he was up 1-0 and he didn't DP my command grab, so he ended up losing and I was able to take the set 2-1. But in most situations, I feel like he DPs there, and I probably should have lost this set, which really would not have put me on a good path for pools. For some reason, they pushed winners of the pools off stream so that they could run the rest of the losers on stream, which I thought was a pretty weird choice, but kind of ended up being whatever. I played MapleCon, who is a launcher player, for my last round to get out of pools, and I was a little bit nervous because this was the first time I was going to play Crusader in a tournament. I knew obviously going in that I wanted to play Crusader anytime I was up against a launcher, because this tournament had a lot of launchers in it, and it was okay. I mean, I ended up winning 2-0. It wasn't like a super close set or anything like that, so I was able to just kind of move forward, which was nice. It was a good like confidence builder, I think, for my Crusader going into the next day, where I would obviously have to play it more. I'm gonna tangent here because I want to point out, I think it's hilarious the number of people who have like the pure scrub quotes mentality. I saw multiple people in like the Twitch chat kind of saying like, oh, he has to counterpick to win. And that is like the worst possible mentality in DNF, which is such a matchup focused game. I love playing Berserker, but I realized really early on that I was gonna have an absolutely impossible time winning tournaments if I was only playing Berserker anytime I had to win against Launcher. It's not an unwinnable matchup. The problem, and the way that I feel about it, is you have to depend on Launcher making a mistake, which is not really a way that I want to win. And I don't think it's a reliable way to win. If you play better launchers and they don't make mistakes, I kind of just feel like you lose, which I think we saw later in the tournament. So I did what I hate doing, and I learned a new character specifically just to cover this one bad matchup that Berserker has. And it obviously paid off, and I just think that people who have this attitude of like, oh, he can't win with his character is just so stupid and so self-defeating. So that was it. Day one ended. I ended up going out with Alpaca and his brother and another guy who was there just to watch named James, and we ended up getting burritos, obviously, because we had won the, you know, Chipotle free entree stuff. It was pretty fun. I wasn't there too long the first day because obviously I was pretty tired from not having slept that much. So I went back, and shout out to my hotel actually, because they had the Stars Vegas Golden Knights game, and Stars won, which was awesome. Go Pavelski. Big Sharks fan. Want to see Pavelski make it all the way to the Cup. So big ups there. Day 2, I woke up pretty early. I had to play Alpaca, which was probably my least like matchup that I wanted to play. Not only because of kind of like the Berserker team kill sort of thing, but also because the Berserker matchup is just really random sometimes. I'm pretty confident in how I play the mirror, but it's really bad when you feel like, I mean, you could be winning the whole time and then you mess one thing up and you're dead. And it kind of sucks. Berserker's a little bit like that with everybody, but he's specifically worse against other Berserkers. So I ended up winning that 2-0, which was nice, and I was able to get into top 8 from there. Honestly, between Ganon and JaxVex, I wouldn't say that I really had a preference. I think both of them are really good launcher players. I played against both of them quite a bit, both in casuals like the day before, but also just online. Ganon's really active in the NA DNF Duel subreddit, and our connection isn't the best, but I played him quite a few times, and I played JaxVex obviously a ton as well. I thought that they would have equal Crusader matchup knowledge going into it, so it didn't really matter to me which one I played. Looking back, I actually think maybe JaxVex had a little more, or at least a little more recent Crusader matchup experience, but either way, it didn't really matter. I played Ganon. I was able to kind of, I think, win pretty cleanly 2-0 and move on from there, and then I had to play another mirror against Random Fiend. I want to say, I actually think Random Fiend played better than me. The fact that he has not played the game very much, I probably have massively more experience both in the mirror but also just in playing the game since the patch than he does, and obviously it was final game, final round, and even more than that, I went back and watched it again, and it probably came down to like 1 frame of difference, because if you look at the replay, he gets counter hit by my 2A, and if you really look closely, you can see that he's starting up a 2A as well. So literally, my decision to 2A like 0.2 seconds before his is what ended up winning me the game. So it was obviously super close. I think just credit to Random Fiend, he's just a really good fighting game player. I don't think it even, because he doesn't play DNF that much, but it was closer than it should have been, only because he's just a better fighting game player than I am. But I had a little bit more experience in the mirror, and it came down to 50-50 in the end anyways. So that's kind of the Berserker mirror sometimes. Moving on from there, Random Fiend ended up losing a pretty close set to Ganon, and then I had to play Ganon again, and it was much closer this time. I actually did win 3-0, but watching it back, it feels like, everyone went to the 3rd round. It feels like a lot of the rounds went to like literally last interaction, 1 or 2 things would happen, or he would just get caught by a Kara Spear right at the end or something and die. But it was 3-0, but it was much, much closer than that. And it was definitely much closer than, the quarterfinals with 2-0. So it was a great match overall, I think. I said this on Twitter, but his cheering squad was just like really hype, and it was pretty cool. They were very like respectful about it. I mean, they weren't just like making noise for the sake of making noise or being distracting or anything. If you got a hit, if you got an anti-air or DP or whatever, he did something good, they would be like going crazy in the back, and I could hear them, but it wasn't like distracting, and I don't think it was like in a rude way. I think they were just, trying to like pump up Ganondorf, and it was cool. It was made the experience more fun, honestly, more than it was like distracting or annoying or anything like that. I also feel like one thing that's really overblown is people say, oh, he didn't react to that because it's PS4 or whatever, or oh, he would have reacted to that on PC. And like, if you're playing online, 100%, PS4 online feels pretty terrible compared to PC. But if you're playing offline on a PS4 Pro, on a 240 hertz monitor, which is what they had there. They had the Sony in-zone monitors, which were great, by the way. They were actually, I didn't have any issues with any of them. I know there were issues at Evo Japan, but I didn't have any issues with them here. I thought they looked really, really good. If you're playing on that setup offline, I felt like it was exactly the same, if not better, than like online PC. I don't understand the argument that people think it's going to be worse offline. I mean, Random Fiend tried to guard cancel 1 time in our set, and I reacted to this like instantly. I mean, I probably had twice as long as I've ever had, it felt like, to react to that guard cancel. So it didn't feel any worse to me. I don't know if it did to other people, I guess, but it just, to me, it felt pretty much the same as playing in like a really, really good connection on PC. Now, I'd love to play offline PC. I'm sure that feels even better, but for now, you know, I was totally fine with the setups that they had. I didn't think it was bad at all. After I won, I felt like pretty much everybody came up to like hype me up and congratulate me, which was really cool. You know, it was nice to kind of like share in the victory, I guess, a little bit with everybody. I think that there will come a time, obviously, and I'm going to CEO, so quite possibly at CEO, where I lose. I'm not the one who wins. And we're such a niche community, not only as DNF players, but as like fighting game players. Fighting games are such a small part of esports, and we're like a niche within a niche. If you cannot be happy for the other people in your community and like build them up when they win, what are you doing? I mean, you're not a community at that point. You're just a group of people. So the next time I'll compete offline will be CEO. That's at the end of June. So in about a month. I'm excited to see people again. It'll be fun to play. I know it'll be a lot bigger competition there, which is great. I'm looking forward to it. I picked Combo Breaker out of Combo Breaker and CEO initially solely because it was closer to me. I live in Ohio, so to go to, you know, Illinois is a much shorter plane flight than to go to Florida all the way on the south of the US. So I'm going to both now, I guess. That's kind of one thing I told myself is if I win Combo Breaker, I'll try my best to go to CEO, and I think I'll be able to do it. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. I know these videos are like pretty different from what I normally do, but I like talking about the experiences I have. I think that if you're somebody who wants to go to tournaments or likes fighting games and is interesting kind of like what the players, you know, go through their mind and what they think about and stuff like that, I think it's interesting. So, and I like sharing it. I think it's funny that after I posted about winning on the communities tab, somebody asked me what game, which it's very funny to think about from where my channel started, that there's now a cross section of people who see my videos and see my communities tab and don't know that I play DNF. Because when I started, it was 100% DNF content. I created this channel because I wanted to talk about DNF. I felt like no one was talking about it, and I just wanted to kind of post content about it at a time where I felt like nobody was really doing that. The fact that there is a subsection of person who likes the content that I make but doesn't know that I started playing DNF or still play DNF a lot is cool. Anyways, that's it for me. If you like this video, you want to see more, you know what to do. Say hi if you see me at CEO. I'll be there, and yeah, catch you guys next time.